So now we're going to do a slightly deeper walk into what is a first meeting. So this is a 2 to 3 minute video that explains how a first meeting looks like. Let's just get a bit of a recap on what's critical in the first. A first is the backbone of your sales process. A first is when you sit down with your client, you meet them for the first time, and you start to delineate what your relationship is with them. And that's very interesting because you've got a few choices here. Are you going to have a friendly relationship, a trusting relationship? Are you going to have a needy relationship? Are you going to be a vendor? Where are you going to be? How are you going to sit with them? How are you going to navigate through that dialogue? Are you going to be a collaborator? Now, we all want to collaborate. That's my goal. My goal is to take you to collaboration. To get to collaboration, there's clearly a process there. Think in terms of dating. You don't step into a date and say, right, my philosophy in marriage is this. What you do is you build up. There's a process there. There's a dance. What we're going to give you here is the dance of the first. Okay, so this is how the first works. This is a flow that takes you through that process with you achieving the final goal. Now, what is the final goal? Final goal is you want to get to the next steps. Get to the next steps. If I don't get a meeting booked and I don't get to the next step, I failed. It doesn't matter how good the meeting was. So let's just take a look at the first in a little bit more detail. So part one, research. You've got to do research on the client. If you don't do research and you don't understand what you're stepping into and why you're stepping into that meeting with them, it's a bit of a waste of time. Number one, you check them out on LinkedIn. Number two, you check them out on Google. Number three, you check out their company. Number four, you check out their industry. We'll come into more detail with that later on. Yeah. A bit of a funny video here, yeah, right? But look, second part is rapport. Now, some people in coaching and sales say we don't build up rapport, but I think relationships are a dance. It doesn't matter whether I'm hostage negotiation, whether I'm negotiating Brexit, yeah, right? Whatever I'm doing, yeah, right? Sales, management, we always start with rapport, yeah, right? Now we reckon 7 to 9 minutes, depending if it's a video call, it's less, yeah. But rapport is at the core of the process of building up your relationship with the customer, and you need to build up rapport. You need to evolve that. So in later sessions, we're going to talk about rapport and how rapport works, yeah. Part number 3, if I move this out of the way, is you segue. Now, segue is a little thing. You think, what's a segue? Well, a segue is what we would call a pattern interrupt. A segue is when we change the direction of the conversation. And again, at a later date, we're going to go into more detail on that. Yeah. Part number 2, let me just pull this up here, is your introduction. Now, what is the purpose of the introduction? Is it to sell to people? No, it's not. The purpose of the introduction is to get to the next step. Don't have any doubt about that. The introduction is not there for you to say, I'm an expert and I know what I'm talking about. People don't want to hear that. It's the last thing anyone wants to hear from you. Trust me on that. No one wants to hear a long, waffly introduction. And again, as we navigate through this next week or so, you're going to get a good feeling of how to run your introduction, how to do your introduction. Next, another segue. We're doing our introduction, we've got to step out of that, yeah, right, and into something else. So we use a segue, we use another pattern interrupt. Now we go into past, present, future. So what do I mean by past, present, future? Well, what have they done in the past? Why have they done it that way? When did they do it that way? What was the rationale behind why they did it, yeah? Once I understand why people have been doing what they've been doing, it becomes very easy to understand what they're doing now. And of course, it becomes very, very easy to strategize on what their plans are in the future. Next, I like a little bit of a presentation here. It can be done in a variety of ways, from a drawing to a little PowerPoint to, to a conversation that presents what you're doing in a slightly different format. The good thing about doing it here is that because you've got a deeper understanding of them, the conversation you're having with them is a lot more relevant. Yeah. Next, we step into summarize. Do you like my picture here? The glasses summarize. Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to be funny. So summarizing is a core skill, and we're going to focus on that. It's something people don't do, but I want to be able to summarize the conversation and the meeting up and say it makes sense to do this, this, and this. And to do this, this, and this is book the next meeting. So that's the first, that's the overview, that's how it looks in a little bit more detail. Enjoy the rest of the videos. What we're going to do now is we're going to break them all down into pieces, and we're going to go through each one at a time over the next 2 weeks.